When he was on, he was one of the most exciting players in the league. We review PCA's 2025.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Later in the show, we go over the Cubs winning the first team defense award from Sports Info Solutions, and really talking about how that's their team identity. And two players today we're going to review that are right in lockstep with that. Dansby Swanson later, and first, Pete Crow-Armstrong, who in 157 games, / 247, 287, 481 with 31 home runs, 37 doubles, 4 triples, 35 stolen bases, and 95 runs batted in. So much to get to with Pete. Sam, he took over the sport at one point, then had a lot of ups and downs, then had a lot of downs. But I think for the most part, it was a memorable year for him.
The toughest guy, I think, to really put a one grade on, because it really felt like two completely different seasons. If you wanted to be picky, you would have loved for the way it happened to be flipped, where he went into the offseason feeling great, kind of like he did a little bit last year, whereas he started this year. But to be fair, he actually started the year really poorly, and then it was that Dodger series in mid-April that flipped everything. Pete was, I think Pete, in his own way, was the season. Like, and when I say that, I mean, when he was at his best, it also felt like the team was at their best, and it felt like something special was happening. I remember jumping on the show after the Cubs took 2 in a row at Wrigley against the Dodgers, and it felt special. I was getting texts from people that I don't typically get texts from, and the comparisons were starting to come out. PCA is the most exciting Chicago athlete since, and the answer was either Derrick Rose or somebody named Michael.
Yeah, it's not Caleb Williams.
Yeah, well, no, it's not him. So it was spectacular, and at the same time also had a whiff of not sustainable. And what happened, that came true in the second half of the season. But what Pete was able to do from, what was it, Matt, about mid-April through August 1st, something like that.
Yeah. How did you know that?
Well, you've mentioned it. You've mentioned that time frame a lot.
Okay, yeah. I do have that in front of me.
I try and listen when you talk.
Right.
But sometimes I don't do that well.
Yeah, it's a high percentage. It's definitely not 100.
No, it's like a Steph Curry free throw percentage, about 91%. It was the, I'll go as far as to say this,
the pinnacle of the year.
Not only that, it was the most must-see stuff from any of my teams. So my teams are
let's review that.
Not counting Messi. That's in a different category.
Oh, okay.
Talking teams. Cubs, Bears, Illinois basketball, Illinois football, and then a whiff of the Bulls. It was the most exciting stuff I've seen from any of those guys, that team, since probably the Derrick Rose MVP season. I mean,
That's really cool.
It was really, like, it was, we all have our routines. I mean, it was to the point where it was like, I can't go on Uber Eats or which I don't do anymore, by the way. Monarch saved me from that, but I couldn't do anything. I couldn't, go in the kitchen or whatever if Pete was even due up third in an inning. My whole night was revolved around his ABs. And there's something to be said for that.
There is. Yeah, he was the most exciting guy in the sport in my mind. And I love your comparisons there, just reflecting on your fandom and the other teams. I hadn't done that exercise yet, but it would seem to me like
Well, he's
for
probably more
me,
exciting than the Iowa quarterback situation for most of your life.
absolutely.
Yeah, Ricky
Uh,
Stanzi.
yeah, since I was a freshman in college. So, not wow, Stanzi poll right there. Yeah, they made the Orange Bowl my freshman year. That was pretty much it. So, they've been good, but yeah,
Illinois needs to fire their defensive coordinator. Go ahead.
for me, not as much of a consumer of those other teams. He's the most exciting player at this size and scope that he was, though, not those 90 games, which I'm about to give you here.
Yeah.
Sammy Sosa.
Right.
And not coincidentally, he was the first 30 guy since Slam and Sammy. From April 13th through the entire month of July, a span of 89 games, he hit 287 with 27 homers and 23 steals. The Cubs went 53-36, winning nearly 60% of their games.
Right.
That was the best part of the year. It had to have been.
No question.
An exciting, dynamic player. You could tell he was getting more comfortable with his personality. You could tell Craig Counsell was giving him the elbow room to do that. And not only did he start slow the past 2 years, but like you mentioned earlier, this year, he entered that Sunday night baseball game against the Dodgers in April. He was hitting a $197. And there was, we were kind of joking, like, where is he? And boy, did he turn it around quick. And just a lot of good memories with him this year at the plate and in center field.
Yeah, and what I want to get into, and we could do this in a second, I want to talk about what the path is for adjustment, because the second half was rough, and for that reason, I can't give him an A. I wanted to give him an A grade because those 89 games were so electric. Mm-hmm. But it's a 162 game season for a reason, and the question with Pete is, how do you fix what plagued him, what went wrong down the stretch, and how do you fix that? And that's really what I want to go over. But for me, Matt, if I had to give him a final grade, it's like a B plus ish.
Okay.
I like an 87.5%.
Yeah, I'm gonna go A minus.
Yeah, you're probably more kind.
Probably like a 90.3.
Yeah. Okay.
And what can he work on? What can we see him improve in 2026? Let's get to that right after this.
This episode is brought to you by Game Time. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it's frustrating. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games as low as $100. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view for my seat before buying. So please download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
Shout out to the everydayers, and you can become a Locked On Cubs everydayer by joining us for every episode throughout the week. All right, shifting from our grades and reviewing PCA's 2025 season, let's go to 2026
Yeah.
because here's a player who's under contract control with the team for a long time. Maybe we could get into some of the extension stuff that was leaked over the summer.
Yeah.
Actually, was that more like in the spring?
That was spring. That was right. That was right. It was right around the Dodgers series, if I remember correctly.
Oh, so April. Wow.
Yeah.
So the first thing that comes up for me is, and I also want to ask you about his playoff performance, but
Yeah.
first thing that comes up for me is his swing decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that has to be number one, especially chasing velo up in the zone. What about you?
So this is why I want to have this discussion. It's very complicated with somebody like Pete, because in baseball, but in life as well, that's why I love doing this. You could always relate sports and life. You're trying to find that perfect balance, okay? But finding that perfect balance is really hard to find. Here's a couple players that have like the perfect balance of swing decisions, contact, and pop, right? Juan Soto comes to mind. He's getting about $765 million to play the sport. The other one that comes to mind is probably Aaron Judge, although he strikes out a little bit more. Like those guys don't just walk around and you see them at your local convenience store and go, "Hey, you want to play some baseball?" They're rarities. That's why they're Hall of Famers and that's why they make a bunch of money. And so with Pete, it's like, yes, the easy thing to go into the offseason is say he's got to be better with his swing decisions. He's got to be better at taking pitches. But the bigger step for me is can he do that without compensating, without sacrificing what makes him so unique and special? Well, what makes him so unique and special? His ability to put his bat on the ball at pitches up in the zone, down in the zone, hit home runs. His ability to take mistakes and hit home runs. And in the second half of the season, I actually wasn't sitting there going, "Oh, Pete's swinging too many bad pitches." I was more in the camp of Pete's missing the pitches that what made him special the first half. So you have to find that balance. I'm going to talk about that with Matt Shaw later this week about, hey, I get it. You want him to pull the ball in the air more, but what got him to the dance is going to the opposite field. It's all about finding that happy medium with the player. Ian Happ's another great example. He had a huge hole in his swing with high fastballs. He fixed it, but in order to fix that, he did sacrifice a lot of oppo power to do so. Where is the push-pull, the give-take? How much is Pete going to have to sacrifice with his ability in order to be more selective? Because being selective isn't something, it's not just something you could practice. It's a skill, too. You have to have it. And to be honest with you, it doesn't feel like he has it. When he takes pitches, it feels like he's just predetermining that he's taking them. And so I'm basically saying a whole lot of nothing right now. It's just the fact that everyone's going to say, well, he's got to take more pitches, and that's fine. But I don't want Pete hitting, 9 home runs next year.
Right.
If it only means that his OBP goes, you said, what was his OBP? 281 or something like that?
Yeah, 287.
If he's going to take more pitches and he's going to sacrifice a bunch of homers, then his OBP needs to go up like 40 points. If it's only going to go up like 20 and he's going to be a 12 homer guy, then that's not worth it. I'd rather just have this version. But my point is, you're looking for that perfect balance, but that perfect balance is really hard to find.
Yeah, and I think slug would be the thing that would be sacrificed. I'm not going to be, that wouldn't thrill me by any means, especially if he's going to hit in the first 5 spots in the order.
Yeah, which he won't.
Okay, so you think he'll hit 6, 7, 8, or 9?
Yeah, to start the year. It was a rough ending. And last thing I want to say, he needs to get better at stealing bases in terms of his accuracy, his jumps, his reads. Like everything with Pete, I think is about, it's no natural talent issues, small things, reading the pitcher, getting a better jump, knowing when it's Hap's ball, knowing when he just needs to make the call. Just the intricacies of the game.
Well, the little things that add up to the big thing for sure. And I would say pitch recognition. That would be the right phrasing for me. Swing. I don't think accepting more walks for him is necessarily the plan. I do think that's going to be out there. I think we'll hear rumblings of that.
Yes.
But I think that would take a lot from his game.
Yep.
Walk output, increase a little bit, sure, but to sacrifice the slug, I think would be the wrong thing to do, because that even includes going gap to gap and doubles and triples, and not only hitting the ball over the fence. And the stolen bases was a bigger story than it should have been. I think he got well. Number one, he didn't get on base as much,
Right.
because he just didn't get there safely as much in the second half.
Yeah.
Number two was just too passive of a nature, and I think the next level step for him as a player is less of the predetermination, whether that's a read off pitcher at first base,
Yep.
whether that's in the box against any level of pitcher, really. Try to get in a positive count, do damage. What's he doing on 0-0? I noticed that more in the playoffs. 0-0, if you're swinging at a ball, see, that to me, you need to cut that out.
Yep.
But if you're taking an A-hack, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, and you miss it, okay. That's going to happen to everybody. But
well said. The predetermination, less predetermination. I think that's a great way to start for Pete. However, I also don't want him like on a 3-1 pitch, 93 right down the middle, fouling it back because he waits that extra half tick. It's like it's a instinct. Like what's the difference between predetermination and instinct, right? So those.
Well, what's his zone?
What's
his happy place?
It's a very complicated situation, and one that I actually think Craig did a great job of managing this year. Like I think he let him be himself.
He gave him the keys.
I know a lot of people have a big problem with the helmet throwing and things like that, and I think that needs to be taken down a notch.
He's hard on himself for sure.
Yeah, but you could be hard on yourself. I think it needs to be taken down a notch, but it doesn't bother me specifically. It only bothers me specifically when it's like you're 1 for your last 25 and you're doing it all 24 times. You make it out, and it's like, hey man, you're making it out each. Like, don't be so surprised. You know what I mean?
You're gonna make outs.
Yeah, but. Yeah. I think that could just be taken down a notch, just like a tad, but it doesn't bother me specifically. I thought Council did a great job managing him, and I think I thought going into the year, Pete was the highest ceiling, lowest floor player for the team, and I still think that.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of his offense.
He could be a special player.
I think he already is.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging.
I think he already is a special player. The question is how does that go into like what type of special? Flashes of special, or can he be hey man, this guy's going to be a 7-WAR, 270, blah 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 every year type of guy, and that's what we're going to wait to see and find out. But overall, it was a really good year for Pete, and I just think it's going to be very complicated to work with somebody that has that many extremes.
And he's another big reason why this team, as Jed Hoyer said in his end of season presser a couple of weeks ago, is their identity is a lot of defense. And Pete's a big reason why. Nico Horner, others, including this gentleman we're going to talk about next, Dansby Swanson. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Cubs on your preferred audio platform or YouTube. That way you don't miss any of the great Cubs content we've got for you. All right, Dansby Swanson right now, Matt Shaw later this week, and in between the rotation and bullpen, and then it's going to be a lot of hot stove from here on out. 159 games, Dansby Swanson /244, 300. 417 with 24 home runs, 24 doubles, and 77 runs batted in. First 3 years with the Cubs, Sam, averages of 244, 242, 244. Yeah. So within points of each other, but didn't walk as much this year. OBP has really been trending down, 328, 312, and now .300 is also defensive metrics when it ticked down this year as well.
I don't care
Although he
about the
certainly
metrics.
passed the eye test
Yeah, he
in
passed the eye test.
October, especially.
I thought defensively he was totally fine. I thought he was really good, and I'm not going to let the metrics influence my grade.
He's the only player in the organization with a guaranteed contract past this next season, which is pretty wild to say. But he is.
Wow.
He signed through 2029. I just think it's doing these exercises, by the way, made me realize what a year it was for all the main guys just to play.
Yep.
Like, dude, Dansby played 159 games.
Oh, I thought he had a really
Hap,
nice
Saya,
season.
Bush, Horner, Pete, and Swanson all played 150 or more games, dude.
I thought it was Swanson's best year as a Cub. How do you like that?
I think it was too. Absolutely.
The only thing he did at a really low level was hit with runners in scoring position.
And he got heat for it.
I think we just have to understand that Dansby Swanson isn't a great hitter when it comes to putting the bat on the ball, hitting for average, as you said. He just isn't. His job is to play elite level defense, which I think he did do.
Okay.
And then bring some pop to the table and be a force offensively. And I think he had 24 homers. I think if Wrigley played like Wrigley normally would have played in 23 or whatever, he probably is a 28, 29 homer guy. I thought he was the difference in the Cubs winning their first playoff series since 2017. And for that reason, I give him a very solid B. I thought he had a B season. I really don't understand.
Okay, this is the first time that I have a less grade than you. I've always been higher.
I really don't understand the metrics.
Are you talking defense?
Yeah. I thought.
I thought the regular season he did look a bit slower to me.
Okay, then maybe I'm wrong. I think he's pretty good over there, and
well, he is. He is pretty good.
And I would have loved to see.
I don't think he was as elite this year, though.
I would have loved to seen him hit. Like, he's such a gap-to-gap center field type of home run hitter, and it's just really hard to hit home runs at Wrigley there. And I thought he had a pretty nice season. Honestly, if he hit a little bit better with runners in scoring position, I think he would have been trending towards a high B, low A for me. I'm going to give him a B.
Yeah, and I thought his bat was a little slow on fastballs, which was his bread and butter through his career. That's true.
Yeah, no, maybe I'm being generous.
Yeah, I mean, I gave him a B minus.
Oh, well.
So, but it's lower than what you gave him first time so far.
I was very hard on Dansby in 23. I thought his performance in September of 23.
So that was his first year. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought his performance in September of 23 was a big reason why the Cubs collapsed down the stretch. He totally collapsed in September. And really, well, not he didn't collapse. The team collapsed in September, but he really struggled in September.
Right.
On both sides, and it was really disappointing. And then 24 was just kind of meh. And I thought he did a really good job this year, and I want to give him his flowers. He was really, really not effective in the Brewers series at all offensively. But I don't think the Cubs win a playoff series without Dansby Swanson. And so to me, that if you're between a C plus, B minus, I think you have to give him that jump because of what he did in October with the glove, even though the metrics might have not loved it.
I wonder if anybody joins him in the guaranteed deal club over there. It's a solo act right now. Perhaps that'll be his double play partner, Nico Horner. But Cubs certainly have a lot of flexibility for better or worse here moving forward. Really should be for the better, though, especially entering this 2026 campaign. Sports Info Solutions released their Fielding Bible Awards last week. Nico Horner won at second base. And it was reading this release from them, Sam, that convinced me that, it's not even a contest with him and Terang. And this team's identity really is defense. Horner led all second basemen with 17 defensive runs saved. Only two other players had at least 10 runs saved at the position. But the cool part about this is that they also did a Fielding Bible Defensive Team of the Year, and the Cubs won that. They were the only team in baseball to have a positive run save total from 8 of the 9 positions. And I'm sure you could guess the position that didn't have that.
Well, the Cubs have.
But this is their hallmark.
Ironically, the only below average defender that popped off the screen all year was Tucker.
Oh, it wasn't even close. That was the position.
Pete, excellent. Yeah. Ian, very solid. Shaw, Brooks Robinson-esque. Dansby, brilliant. Nico Horner, terrific. Michael Bush, rock solid. Carson Kelly, steady. I mean, those are the guys, and they didn't get hurt.
I know, everyone played.
I mean, and really, they would have had a lot better of a defense if that one guy, what was his name? Made like 5 errors in 2 games at third base.
Gage Workman.
Yeah, Workman, and he was supposed to be really good defensively.
Yeah, I remember who was saying that, but we'll kind of leave that.
Was that me?
But no.
Oh.
Yeah. So Matt Shaw ended up having
I read this guy was a great defender, and he couldn't field a routine grounder.
He couldn't make the routine play
at all.
He also had trouble throwing.
Yeah, no. Whoever that was, not one of Jed's finest.
Or Lance's. Anyway, Matt Shaw was number 4 in defensive runs saved. I didn't realize he was that high up. Matthew Boyd was number 3. That's why he got the Gold Glove nom.
Well, imagine if Matt Shaw played most of the year. He's only behind Ke'Bryan Hayes, who's just terrific over there.
Right, he was at AAA that for a month.
Hayes might win the platinum. I think it might be between Hayes and PCA for the platinum glove.
Yeah, and Rafaela though with the Red Sox might have a case for that.
I'm not familiar with his work.
He was number 1 in DRS in center field.
Of course, there we go.
Anyway, all right. Well.
Did they have DRS around when Willie Mays was playing? You just use your eyes and say, that's the best center fielder I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, really, really fun to watch this team defensively pick it up and make plays and hoping for the same in 2026.
Yeah, and you say identity.
Yeah.
I'd like them to add to their identity of defense and run prevention with pitching.
Right. Should go hand in hand.
Yeah, and then some
take the next step.
And some timely hitting, and maybe you're still playing baseball right around Halloween.
Wow, fantastic. Next episode, Cade Horton, Matthew Boyd, and the rotation, Brad Keller, Caleb Thielbar, the bullpen, be all pitching again in our next episode. And maybe we'll sneak in a trivia question or two.
Our guy JD, Locked On Cardinals, did a Brad Keller episode. Thinks they're going to land.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get a multi-year deal from someone.
And you don't think it's going to be us?
I think there's a chance, actually.
Okay.
I do. Okay. Maybe 2 years, 16 M's.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. This is Locked On Cubs. Now you know why he's probably not going to come back. The Cubs don't do those deals.
And I mean, nobody loves Brad Keller more than me. But
wow. Well, he might be our player of the year. We got to figure out a way to vote on that.
Oh, that's such a great question.
I think I should vote, you should vote, and the audience should vote, and it should be all worth the same.
That's just a great idea.
I'll set up a Google form. This is Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. So, yeah, I was thinking the finalists would be Keller, Boyd, Pete, and would that be the main 3 to vote? Or Horton.
Horner?
Horner and Horton, right.
And Willie Castro.
It's a bad take.
And maybe Bush.
Bush has to be on that list. There's a long list. They won a lot of games.
Yeah. All right. So there's 6 names on there, I believe.
How about Brazier?
Locked On MLB Game Night. It's a great second list. Every game, every night until a World Series champion is crowned, which could be this week. Game 7, if it gets there, would be Saturday, November 1st, this Saturday. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. What about Bruhan?
Yeah, that's a bridge too far.
He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs. Why?
Go Cubs.